going on, Jerome's Minnesota Fighting Vikings back at TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill mandatory minicamp. Head coach, soon to be head coach of another team, Brian Flores, the best DC in the National Football League. That was a Freudian slip, right? But Flores fed the local media jackals, talk about stuff and things and stuff. So let's dive on in. It was a big Diamond Dallas Turner day. First off, talk about how veterans are leading, new guys fitting in, and this time of year, it is about relationship building, communication, both on and off the field, and also jump down to the bomb. So you've seen on social media, right? Harrison Phillips putting things out where the Vikings defense going bowling on Thursday. Flores going with him too, and you've seen players having dinner, congregating, having fellowship over at Flores' house. Like, this is all important, right? And all of this stuff that Flores does and gets the respect of his players and his peers. Like, I feel like Tua missed out on all this. But you've seen how Flores has definitely grown and shown as a coach and a person, and I think he's going to be dynamite whenever he gets another head coaching shot. But selfishly, glad that he's here for a while. But also that dinner conversations, all that stuff, like all of that matters, right? And the cliche is you don't have to be friends to perform on the field, but it helps. Right? It's like Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Like, they're going to basketball games, they're going to the Final Four and all that stuff. And it's like, does your GM and head coach have to do that? No, but it doesn't hurt, having that effective communication, because it feels like you can talk more frank with people who are close to you than someone you just have a business relationship with. If that makes sense. And also that extends to player coach, player, peer-to-peer, all that stuff. Also, we talked about how the Vikings D-line, they're excited about Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave. Also, shout out Jalen Redmond specifically, how he got better and better every single week last year. Same thing with Levi Drake Rodriguez. He got larger, he got quicker, he got faster, he got all that stuff. Plus rookie Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. Talk about how they threw a ton at him as well as all the rookies. And I like that they do that. They don't baby the rookies. They get the full install, whether it's Tyrion Ingram Dawkins this year, whether it's J.J. McCarthy last year. They get the full freight because, hey, you're not a rookie, you're a professional, right? So get your ish together. And for the D-line, I mean, they certainly could go 7 deep up there with Allen and Hargrave in there pushing the pocket. Harrison Phillips doing his thing. TID in that mix. Levi Drake Rodriguez, who I feel like might be a little bit forgotten, but you shouldn't be. Like, how can you forget LDR, man? Taki Taimani on the nose, as well as Jalen Redmond wreaking havoc. I mean, Vikings D-line could be in business this year. I love it. Also, on the edge, Diamond Dallas Turner talked about how he's built on his growth from his rookie season. Plus, Talked quite a bit about how first-year players in the league, like, it's a new house, it's a new building, it's a new everything. So you're learning everything on the fly, and the fact that again, not babying the rookies, but they threw everything at Diamond Dallas Turner. He basically had to learn a new position in one of the more complex schemes in the National Football League. Plus, they asked him to drop into coverage a lot more. He had a nice little PBU today on a tight end, and all that as a 21-year-old rookie, like, that's a lot to ask, right? So I think that Turner's rookie season was pretty damn good. And I know everyone's going to compare it to Jared Verse and blah, blah, blah. Look what Verse did. All right, let's compare Diamond Dallas Turner and Jared Verse in 5 years. How about that? Because Jared Verse will be 30 in 5 years. But also, talked about how DDT has high standards for himself, but he knows he's got to put in that work, and he's doing that. He's absolutely doing it, man. Also sees the outside linebacker room as having 3 starters with Turner, AVG, and Jonathan Grenard. And also it's a huge resource for Turner, too, because you have 2 very successful pros in Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Grenard, 2 very different players stylistically. And I honestly think that Turner could be a nice combination of both in terms of coverage and playmaking with AVG, in terms of pass rush prowess and setting the edge with Grenard, and also clutch play with Grenard. I mean, why not? Absolutely. Also, Flores talked about how he enjoyed the head coaching interview process this offseason. Remember, he had 0 goose egg D'Andre Russell requests last offseason, 2 offseasons ago, rather. But this time around, 3 head coaching interviews with the Jets, the Bears, and the Jaguars. But talked about how he's happy where his feet are. He enjoys the team, the players, the coaches, the organization, all that stuff. And he's happy right now. But again, this man will be a head coach. It will be soon. And whoever hires him is going to get a great leader of men and a great football coach. Absolutely. I also talked about free agent quarterback Isaiah Rodgers coming on in. Said he's been on his radar since UMass. Fast playmaker and really good at building synergy inside the group in terms of the defensive backs as well. Also shouted out Jeff Okudah, fitting in very nicely. Mentioned Blackman, mentioned Nudie McLaughlin specifically as well in that cornerback room. How they mesh with Byron Murphy Jr. Good things are going to happen in that secondary. Plus, he talked about building up that fellowship, building up communication, and talked about how his hope is, quote, "My hope is we build a team that's unselfish. I don't think we're signing Jair Alexander." That is all. And then rounded out, shouting out Theo Jackson, Mekhi Blackman specifically. Talk about how Jackson is, for 2 years he's been a playmaker and will be a solid replacement for Cam Beasley. Plus Blackman coming back from his injury, had high hopes for him last year before he popped his ACL, but now is back and good to go and just like one of those dogs, man. He's absolutely going to be fantastic. So I think the Vikings defense, this is the most talented Vikings defense that we've had since 2017. Hands down. And you have a hell of a leader with a chip on his shoulder, ready to have one of the best defenses in the National Football League. Woo! Come on, man. Come on. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Flores feeding the local media jackals on Tuesday, first day of Vikings mandatory minicamp. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, his thoughts. Comment section. You guys are the best you know what to do. Skol. Production value.